There's a jumble of stuff here, but we're only going to actually talk about one thing today, and it's a new ink. And if you stick around to the end of the video, I'm going to tell you what I like about it, what I don't like about it. I do have a couple thoughts on it. And excuse all the mess. As you know, when I get a new ink, I swatch it, I put it in my Rolodex, I also put it in this notebook. And the ink we're going to talk about, even though I have several here, is a new Ferris Wheel Press ink, and it's Tumbling Time Blue. So it's a limited edition, and it's part of the Fairy Tales series, and I believe there's 3 or 4 other colors in it. There is one called Mushroom that I wasn't too interested in. There's a green with Curiosity, which I quite liked. And then I got this one, Tumbling Time Blue. So what are we going to look at? Well, as always, Ferris Wheel Press really seems to put a lot of thought and care into packaging, and they have this sort of steampunk aesthetic that I quite like. And also a little Canadian logo right here, because it's a Canadian company, and I'm a Canadian. Atlantic Canadian, but anyway. So, Ferris Wheel Press's office is in Toronto, I believe, and they've been making inks and fountain pens, and I believe they make a roller ball, and I believe notebooks. I actually have to, I better check that. Anyway, at first when I first saw their products, I wasn't too interested in some of their early colors. I found them kind of pale for my liking, just kind of thin looking. But they've started making some nice colors that I quite like. One I really liked was this one here, and that is the Roaring Patina Black. And they also make Peter Moss Green, which is a nice green. And I have a couple samples of other Ferris Wheel Press inks, and so we're going to take a look at this. So it comes in a little box, and inside is a very small, attractive package, a globe-shaped bottle. Usually on the bottom they have this little, identification thing there, just to tell you what the ink is, TTB, Tumbling Time Blue. And always they incorporate this nut design, which is inspired by a piece of machinery. Apparently they have an old printing press in the office, and they have, I believe it has brass bolts or nuts, I guess you would call it. And this is taken into consideration on their brush pen and often on their inks. So the lid looks like a nut from a bolt, So what you get is, it's 20 milliliters, or 20, is it 20? Better check that. 20 millimeters, yeah. So yeah, it's a nice little bottle, nice little packaging. There's a nice illustration. There's all these little stars and planetary elements and shooting stars, and there's little Easter eggs hidden throughout that I quite like. So I'm just gonna get a piece of paper from my Rolodex, which I'll be doing a swatch. I keep a Rolodex, and I also, in this book, which I take around to a lot of different things, I also keep a record of the ink. And just because I go to a meeting or something like that, or a meetup with other fountain pen enthusiasts, I can sort of look through it. Problem with keeping a notebook is it gets out of control fairly quickly, and you quickly lose track. So I've been using the Rolodex for my main source of information. So yeah, I'll put it right here. Yeah, so it's a little bottle. This is a little bit more stable than some of their other bottles, which I kind of like. Now, this is a sheening ink. It's also a shimmering ink, so I should stir this up quite a bit just to get the best effect. And it's all over the thing now. And I'm going to do a sample here. Let that dry, and I'm going to do a sample over here. Now hopefully I'll start seeing some of the sheening and shimmer as it dries. And I'm also going to ink up a pen. On the side of the bottle, on the side of the box, it recommends using rinse pens thoroughly when exploring a new ink, and it recommends a medium or a broad pen. And I do have a medium pen that I haven't been using for quite a while, and it's a Retro 51, and it has a medium Schmidt nib on it, so we're going to see how that works. I'm also going to use my dip pen here just to record what this is. Tumbling Time Blue. And that'll go into my Rolodex when it's dry. And I'm already seeing, as it on this, inferior piece of paper that Time Blue. Anyway, inferior piece of paper, I am seeing the sheen and the shimmer coming through as the ink dries. Excuse my writing there. So yeah, and on this one I'm seeing the shimmer quite nicely, and there's sort of a reddish sheen occurring. The shimmer is kind of a yeah, so now, as I said, I've only recently started getting really into Ferris Wheel Press inks, mainly because I'm not a fan of paler colors, and I thought that the first ones I had seen I found rather thin looking, but they seem to be coming out with a lot of interesting limited editions that are worth well, we'll talk about that. They're interesting, and I just want to try some. Now, I'm already noticing a problem here. I hope this isn't a problem. This is a fairly broad nib, and that's a fairly small hole. Will this fit? Yeah, it seems to be going in okay. So I'm not going to worry about getting a huge fill. There we go. That's pretty good for what I'm going to use this for, just as a sample, really. Now, I'll do a video on this pen. Actually, I haven't done a video on this pen. Maybe I'll do it after I finish this. And so, hopefully this works. The quick brown fox jumps over. Lazy dog. I have to be honest, I'll have to be honest, this might not be the pen for it. It says it has a medium nib. I have a Pelican 12 Silvex which would actually work better, I think, with this. But it has another ink in it at the moment. But so maybe sometime I will change up the inks. And I'll look at it in a better light too and see what I like. Now, that's actually looking quite nice. You see the shimmer, you see the sheen. It's kind of a reddish color. Very nice, intense color. I quite like it. I'm going to say I like it. Now, I like the color, I like the sheen, I like the shimmer. My only problem, well, no, it's not a problem. It is a limited edition, that's what they say. So maybe it won't be around after it sells out. I don't know if they will how long they'll produce it. maybe a few months. Maybe they'll just do one batch, and when it sells it, that's it. That's it. I don't quite know their process. Now, it's a very small bottle. It is a globe shape. The other bottle, as you can see, is fairly thin. This is 38 mil, I believe. Yeah, 38 milliliters. And this is 20 milliliters. It's a nice ink. It's a limited edition. Beautiful color. It's a shimmering ink. It's a sheening ink. It is expensive. There's several in this series, and I probably won't be picking up any more unless I get them on sale if that ever occurs. It's a very nice ink, but these, and it's probably because it's a sheening ink with a shimmer. But for 20 milliliters. It runs probably comparable to this. This is the Irashizuku Konpeki, which is 50 milliliters. Now, I often think of Irashizuku as a luxury, well, not really a luxury brand, but I think of it as a higher end ink, and it's actually, I think this is $1 less than this, and this is 50 mil for Pilot ink, which is, an excellent ink. This is an excellent ink too. It's a limited edition, but you're getting 30 milliliters less. So I don't know. That said, if you're looking for, say, if you're looking, say, for a gift for somebody who's into fountain pens, this actually might be worth it. It's probably going to, with tax and PEI, run you just over $30. I don't know how much it's priced in other locations. Yeah, it's a beautiful bottle, beautiful packaging, beautiful ink. It probably makes a good gift. That's one thing I would say. And if you're into inks and you're trying out different ones, I would probably look at the selection of inks in the series, the Fairy Tale inks, and pick one that you like. But for me, I probably wouldn't pick up more than one. That's myself, just saying. But it's nice to have in my collection, and I will use it, and I will enjoy it. I'm looking at that ink, and that's a beautiful ink, So there's pros, there's cons. So, when I think of some inks, for instance, value-wise, diamine, for instance, is probably like the best value for inks that I can think of, because they have so many colors. They have shimmering inks, they have sheening inks, they have limited editions like you wouldn't believe. They come up with all kinds of different exclusive inks for shops or occasions and in groups, and they don't break the bank, and it's a very good ink, well behaved. This is a good ink too. I'm not going to put it in because of the little particles in it. I'm not going to put it in my most expensive pen or anything like that. But at the same time, it should be suitable for a fountain pen. You just have to wash your pen thoroughly after using it. But so there we have it. I'm just going to leave it at that. I like the ink. I find it a bit pricey. I'm hoping to discover how it behaves in a fountain pen as I use it, and I'll probably do an update just at some other time when I'm talking about pens in use or something like that. I'll tell you what I think of it in the long term. But anyway, if you have any comments, I'd like to hear from them. Have you tried this ink? Have you tried the other inks in this series of Ferris Wheel Press? What's your favorite Ferris Wheel Press ink? I'd like to hear that. Do you like their more intense colors, or do you like their lighter colors? What do you think is probably the best value ink out there? I'd like to hear that too. I'm always interested in hearing about new brands or what people like. My personal favorite would be diamine, as I said. And if, let me know what you think. Always great to hear from people. So anyway, I hope you have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you very much.